Kaninja. Welcome to our newest episode. It's your co-host, Rissy Ray.
Hey.
And yours truly, Kaninja. So today we're going to talk about, which we've talked about for a while now, COVID. But it's a little different. We have a little spin to it this time around. So yours truly, Kaninja, has caught COVID. And allegedly, Rissy may or may not have caught COVID as well.
Exactly. Stay strong.
So, Rissy, I want to hear from your side first, though, because Breaker Buddies is really funny because Rissy's alleged situation and my true situation that happened all happened at the same time.
You can't make this up.
No. So, Rissy, you want to tell your story?
Man, listen. So I woke up on one day during the week and I had a headache and a slight fever. And I was like, I haven't been drinking enough water lately. Does not explain the fever, by the way, but I wasn't drinking enough water. I said, I haven't eaten my vegetables. Let me just, let me weigh this out. And then I had to have a gentleman caller. They were not feeling well either. And I was just like, when it's a slam dunk, it's slam dunk. So I was like, fuck it. Come on, let's hang out. Let's hang out and watch some TV. And so still slight fever, slight headache. And then Monday, I felt warm. And I was like, oh, you left the heat on. But your friend, Rissy Ray, got the body chills. And I knew something was wrong.
She ain't warm.
So I got my body chills. And that's when I was like, ooh, this is a little bit more than me drinking a little bit more water. I was like, oh yeah, water's not gonna fix this because I was and so what didn't help me was that my cycle started, where this is where all the allegedly is coming from. My cycle started, and sometimes depending on the powers that may be, I can have period flu, which is basically everything I had, but it's caused by just your imbalance during those that week or whatever, like the few days before and during. And my nipples were so hard. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh. So I'm body chilling, fever, and my nipples were. So I was okay. So at work, I was just putting my hands in my shirt, and I was like, please don't let nobody come up here because I'm not stopping because this hurts. Like, so I'm just rocking back and forth. And unfortunately and then I woke up and I saw that life cycle started. I said, oh no. So, oh no. And that was how I was feeling. So I was down for a few days. And then I got better, went outside with no sweater apparently, and got sick again. And I'm just now getting better.
Allegedly.
I have a slight cough, probably from the weather, and that's what's going on. I did test. I did take a COVID test Sunday because I was like, oh sweet, I could not go to work if I'm if it's COVID.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm sorry, I am not vaccinated. I am not vaccinated, so I took a whole at-home COVID test, and I looked at it, but they said wait. I was trying to listen to music, I was spazzed out, and then it said I was negative. Apparently, okay, we'll start with symptoms. So that's what I was feeling. That I got a mixture of nasal congestion, cough, and now I'm getting to where I am. Symptoms, Kaninja.
So mine were fairly similar, except for the body chills and the nipples. I did not have that situation. And funny story, Breaker Buddies, Rissy and I, our cycles are aligned. So, but I don't have period flu. So I have a different thing on that. So I had symptoms around the same time, but I had like more or less a headache. I had congestion. I had cough, but it was all up in my sinuses. And I was like, okay, I don't have trouble breathing. I didn't have a fever. I don't really run a fever anyway. Like usually I don't. I usually do get pretty cold fairly easily. So I didn't think I didn't have chills. I was just all sinuses, and I was just like, oh, I'm so congested. I'm sneezing, coughing like crazy, all that stuff. And then, probably a few days afterwards, I got like super tired. And so I slept like a whole day. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just because the sinus. I thought I had a sinus infection. I didn't think anything of it. And I'm vaccinated. So I was just like, it's no big deal, what have you. And of course, I had certain family members come over during that time. I feel so bad. And they are not vaccinated.
Cluster.
It really was. And they're not vaccinated. And again, I thought that I just had a sinus infection. I thought it was fine, And on that day, I felt perfectly fine. Like my congestion was at a low. I wasn't coughing at all. I wasn't cold. Like I was preparing stuff, for them to come over. Then I find out a few days later that the people I had come over, they were experiencing symptoms. And they were experiencing similar symptoms as I was, except for they were having chest pains and having a hard time to breathe. And I was like, oh.
Snap.
You should take a test. I felt like, whenever you after having a sexual encounter, and then something happens afterwards, you're like, oh, we should get tested. That's how it kind of felt.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I got the AIDS. Like, just out the gate. You're like, oh, shit. I mean, bleep, but oh, my goodness.
Yes. It felt like that. And I was like, okay, get tested. And if you're positive, I'm going to get tested. So they took the at-home test and they were negative. So they were like, awesome, we don't have it. And I was like, fantastic, that means I don't have it. And so
I'm not wasting money on this test.
Right. I thought it was fine. And so then they took it at CVS, at the actual place, and they did the PCR and all that stuff. The next day they got the results. Bam, positive. Okay. So, side note, the at-home antigen test was negative. The actual PCR test was positive. So they were positive. I was like, crap. So that means I got to get tested. So I took the at-home antigen test. And I was like, I can do this. Because I still had symptoms. I still was congested. I was still the same symptoms. Like it was just lingering at that point. Still no fever. So I took the at-home antigen test. I took it twice. And both positive. And so I was like, crap. So, now I'm like, all right, well, then I'm just gonna, stay at home, I'm positive. I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry, family. It was really family. I'm sorry, that I did this. I didn't realize. They're like, no, it's okay. Again, I'm vaccinated. They're not. So they were put through the ringer. They were having such a hard time. They were having a hard time breathing, chest pains, coughing. They just sounded horrible. Luckily they're getting better, so which is good. But it just went through the whole family. Luckily the kids were fine.
It's not about the kids. They said the kids can. I mean, I'm not saying that they had it or not, but they're saying that kids can get it, but then they're just chilling.
Yeah, and that's basically what happened. Like they were a little stuffy, but that was about it. And so, but really it was the parents that really was put through the ringer. And so, really I've been having symptoms for 2 weeks. So then I was like, okay, well then I'm going to take the antigen test. I took it probably 4 or 5 days after I took my last one that was positive, and it was negative. So I was like, bing, bing, boom. Amazing. I'm negative. But I had this weird feeling that I should just take the PCR test anyway at CVS. And so that's what I did. And I was positive. So, mind you, Burger Buddies, this is already 7 days since the beginning of my symptoms. And I had a positive antigen test, and I had a negative antigen test, and I had a positive PCR test. So my symptoms have, as you can see, it's gotten a lot better, but it has been lingering.
Looking good, Kaninja.
Thank you. But it has been lingering. So 2 weeks now, I think they've lasted. I just took my last test yesterday, and I'm just awaiting results, and hopefully it is a negative result. So I know we're talking about symptoms, but that was the whole story.
No, because that was supposed to lead up to like, because that's why I wanted the connection. Because think about this, right? Because when I took my at-home test, it said negative, and I said, okay, it's the flu. Like, I didn't take the time to go to a CVS, a CVS or whatever, because one, I'm thinking, COVID's been out since 2020. I mean, like, officially COVID branded t-shirts, infomercials. It's been 2 years, right? Or close to it at this point, like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I'm going to get a branded COVID at-home test, at this point, which I feel like other people are on the same page, at this point, it should be legit.
Yeah.
Like if I take it, all the, I guess the little, how some people were taking 3 at a time because they said, well, every other one works. And I'm just like, but this thing been out for a while. Like, why am I buying 3 paying $20 if I can buy 1?
Right. And each one is $10.
So yeah, it's high.
Yeah, it's expensive. But I realized why the antigen tests are not as accurate as we may seem. But it doesn't make sense either, because like you and I had symptoms and we both took it and they were negative. I took it the first time, it was positive, but I took it the second time and it was negative. And you took it negative, but we both had symptoms. And so typically the antigen test is most accurate when you were experiencing symptoms. But then
we were.
Exactly. So, which I thought was weird. But then I realized too that I was doing it wrong.
Okay, now break it down, Kaninja, because in my mind, how can you do a thing that's supposed to detect COVID? The test been out, the company has perfected their craft. How can it's like, how do you mess up a pregnancy test? Like that is what it felt like. It's like, how can I mess this up?
Yeah, no, you're right, because so in the instructions of the antigen test, it says to twist around. It really says to circle around in your nose. And so what I ended up doing was twisting it. Like I didn't circle it in circles like around the walls of my nose. I just put it up there and I twisted it around.
What's the difference?
I don't know, but I was doing what I was doing before, like I was twisting it. And when I went to CVS, when they were telling me to do it, and I was doing the same thing, they're like, no, do it in circles. And so apparently it makes enough difference for them to stop me and to say, no, do it in circles.
Do you know how many people probably did what you did?
Yes, I know. I all I think is that the whole reason why you put it in your nose is all it needs is boogers. That's all it needs. It just needs some sort of congestion, mucus, so that it can actually detect it from there. But apparently the movement of the Q-tip may make a difference, and the timing of it all, and the whole squeezing of the tube is a little confusing too. So, yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm making a face. It's just what?
Mm-hmm.
It's just because, okay, this is my thing. Mm-hmm. For certain things that I buy, some just electronics and stuff, they also have a free video. Free video I can watch.
Yes.
What's up with all this COVID stuff and COVID this? Why isn't there attached to the payment? There probably might be, YouTube is such a beast, you know what I'm saying? There probably information about it, but attached to a product. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you go to a restaurant and now that you don't have menus no more, it's a QR code. You gotta use your phone to scan it and stuff. So why couldn't there be like a QR code in the back? Like, well, not in the back, but maybe in the instructions. Say, scan this QR code to see the step-by-step on how to proper, like.
Yes. And have a link to a YouTube video that actually shows it. You know, that'd be simple enough. I mean, you literally have 2 huge like packets of information, of instructions, one of different like languages, and you can't add a link to a YouTube video that shows this, which it literally takes like what, not even 15 minutes,
right? And you don't have to worry about languages by then, because you know it could be Chinese for all I care, and I can.
Yeah, and then when they see the motion,
but as I can see this, that's okay, like how they say car, like, like, I'm thirsty, like you got money, like,
yeah,
corn, like all you gotta do is just do that. And I'm just saying, because we're not the only people in this boat where they've taken an at-home test and gotten a negative. It was like, hey, this is out here, even though unfortunately, because we have a consumer market, you can literally make anything and sell it, and nobody's going to check you. I mean, they're going to check certain things, but you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, why? Because, you know what I mean? Like, we're thinking it's a COVID test.
Yeah.
It went through, but yeah, it's just so frustrating to me, because you took the time they took the time, the families took the time to go and get a PCR test, because what they could have thought was like how I still believe is that they had the flu.
Yeah.
Because some of the flu systems, like, you know, again, COVID, cold, flu, all kind of in the same
realm
situation type deal. But I'm like, that brings the talk to me, when it's like, wow, you got all these COVID at-home tests, and you know, I think the government is saying that, I know, right? The government is giving out free tests, but I'm like, well, shit, it's February. Like, we don't need shit now. Like,
but they're not even free. I mean, it literally is $10. Like the at-home test. It's $10. But get this though. Get this. So I was filling out to schedule for another PCR test yesterday. Yes. And I missed a box, and because one of the boxes is like, have you been in contact with someone in the last 14 days? Now, granted, I have been having symptoms for more than 14 days at this point. And I was positive less than about 5 days ago. I was still positive. And the questions they ask you on CVS, all it really asks you is, you know, I think it does ask you if you've had a positive test before or within the last 14 days. And that's great. But then it asks you when you had symptoms. And if your symptoms is like past 14 days, it may not let you take a free COVID test. However, it will say you don't qualify for a free COVID test. However, if you pay $139, you can, get this, Rissy, volunteer to take a test for research. So you have to pay $139 to volunteer. I'm just going to pause there. And to take this test, because I don't qualify for a free test because I didn't match the criteria, and I mistaken one of the check boxes, but I didn't match the criteria to qualify for a free PCR test.
Regardless, I see what you say. Like,
but like, why would I pay money to volunteer for a place? It's just a dot. So to me, it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, and like, I guess they was thinking that I was trying to take this PCR test just for funsies, you know, because I just love putting things up my nose. Apparently, allegedly,
you got a fetish.
Apparently, and so it's crazy stuff. So like with the antigen test, and how the accuracy is just all over the place, and it's free. But even the PCR test is not technically free, and the antigen tests are $10.99, and you can only buy 4. You're limited to 4.
All these restrictions. But no, I was saying because our presidente, well, no, I don't know the inner workings and stuff anymore because they all lie. Everything's a conspiracy at this point. But you can go and sign up to get a free, they don't know when they're going to roll them out, but you get a free COVID test. So I signed up for it. But again, we're in fucking February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
February.
Yeah. I think you get 4 of them, right? You can get up to
4, but we in February. Because okay, correct me if I'm not correct. Please correct me if I'm not correct. Because I was under the impression when COVID came out that hey, we ain't got to worry about COVID during the summertime.
They basically said that COVID doesn't spread as much during the summertime because it doesn't really thrive within heat.
Okay.
And so it's like kind of a lull within COVID. You can still get it. You can still get transmitted.
You can still get it.
But it's a lull. It's not as transmissible. But like with Omicron, it's like way more contagious than Delta and regular COVID-19 anyway. Like that just spreads like wildfire. So I don't even know if that's the case really in the summer. Like I swear I got Omicron. Because it wasn't as it's not as deadly, but it's also way more contagious. So it was more like cold symptoms for me, but it just lingered. Like I lost my sense of smell.
Wait, no, I thought you were good.
No, I lost my sense of smell, and it's coming back, my sense of smell now. But I thought for the longest time that it was just because I was just congested.
Yeah, because that's usually the case.
Mm-hmm. So when I stopped being congested, I sprayed Lysol because I was cleaning the house. I couldn't smell Lysol.
Ah! Ah!
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Could you still taste food?
I could still taste just fine.
Okay.
But like I couldn't smell the Lysol, and I was like smelling candles because I have candles in the house.
Oh, so you're getting high.
That was true. Apparently I was like inadvertently trying to get high because I was trying to smell these candles.
He's like, I can't smell these candles. Oh shit! I didn't know that. And that's what I was thinking. So our symptoms are very simple. Because that's what happened with me. I mean, now I was able to eat everything. I was able to taste everything, and I was still able to smell everything. And I guess that's what was on my mind. I was just like, can I smell stuff? Can I smell it? And I'm just like, but then, you're thinking, because you're like, but I'm congested. And like, I usually don't smell things like that anyway, but
yeah, exactly. And I didn't realize it until I stopped being congested and I couldn't smell a Lysol, and then I just couldn't smell much of anything. And then a few days ago, it started coming back intermittently. Like I would get like a smell like smacked in my face. Like my dog farts. And so like it's so bad.
Don't tell his whole business out there.
Sorry, Onyx. But he farts, and like I was not able to smell it. Thank goodness. I was not able to smell it. Then all of a sudden it just smacked me in the face. And I smelled it and it went away. Like, but his farts linger. Like, sorry, break room buddies, but his farts linger. So I know it doesn't just come in and come out. Like, it stays for a bit. Okay. Dog owners, you guys need to understand. This is the real struggle here.
I get scared when I hear my dog fart.
Yeah, exactly. It's bad.
Oh, that wasn't me. And I'm looking at him and he's like,
yeah, but it was smacked me in the face. And so that's when I knew like my smell was starting to come back. But it was just intermittent. And then now I can smell again. Thank goodness. But I never had trouble with taste. So
see you. So that's why. So this is your catching COVID. And I know she got it from someone's dirty. And someone dirty gave it to her. So there ain't no way. You've been good for how many years, and this happens.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh yeah, but with my allegedly.
May or may not have.
May or may not. I don't know. I
But I got it from someone dirty.
Oh yeah, definitely. There ain't no way you keep a house clean, okay?
Says the person who invited a gentleman suitor.
I know, right? Like I was already having symptoms prior to. I'm like, just come over. Like, oh, you don't give a F about your life. At that time,
Nope.
Mama had needs. But because they were telling me that, oh wait, this kind of makes me look bad. But they were around people who also was positive for COVID.
But you allegedly may or may not have had COVID.
Yes, because I allegedly made it. Mm-hmm. So in the whole big picture, okay. Mm-hmm. So if I did, like I said, we have no confirmation. There's no documentation. Mm-hmm. I am not infecting anyone. Right. I just have my antigen test and it said negative. I did limit my exposure to other people because I thought it was the flu. So I moved as if I had the flu. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't up in people's faces. I really didn't spend that much time with my daughter because I was just like, you stay with grandma and grandpa. But if I did have COVID, I'm just gonna let you know I am the chosen few. Okay, I was able to survive COVID as an unvaccinated American with the same symptoms as this one up here or side here. So we are the chosen few.
Yes, exactly.
No ventilator.
Which, thank goodness, like really, thank goodness that was the case. Because I know like Omicron is not as deadly, but like especially like you and then like my family members that did get it, they aren't vaccinated. Like thank goodness it wasn't like with the original COVID-19 or the Delta virus. Like,
oh yeah, I'm glad it mutated to where. I'm glad it mutated. You know, everybody's like, "Holy crap!" I'm glad it mutated to just my nipples being extremely hard. Like that, I'm so glad the evolution. I need the evolutionary chart to go from ventilator and death to my nipples are so hard. Oh god, because that's what it was. I was like, man, this sucks. But
that could have been attuned to your cycle too.
And that's another factor. I had my cycle. My cycle also brings the symptoms before it occurs, and then during. Because then when I woke up and my day started, I was like, I need water. I need water. And I was just like, my cycle is water, not that. Hey, you're really sick and you need water. No, my cycle started. I want to pass out. I'm gonna pass out. So
hydrated.
And I was just like, I gotta drink water. And then I didn't realize that me just thinking it was period flu and me being on my cycle, that it actually helped me get better. I just started getting stupid, like on day 5 or something, where I was just like, I feel better now. I'm gonna drink soda. I'm gonna get a piece of candy. And then my mom's like, what? Your immune system is crap right now. What is a cookie gonna do for us?
Good for your soul.
For our soul. Yes. So that is me and Kaninja's COVID / alleged COVID experience.
Exactly. And before we get into our final thoughts, I did want to bring up one thing. Thank goodness that we did not get this. I can't remember how it pronounced it, but it's like parasomia or something like that. And it's actually a condition that people get after they get COVID, where their taste buds change, where basically anything they eat or taste actually can taste like bleach, rotten eggs, sewage, garbage, all this stuff. Like that's a new thing now that's coming out. There are a lot of people, like even one of my friends that I knew in college, she had COVID and she actually has that condition now. They say it's temporary and it's very rare for it to be like lasting longer than 6 months, but like it's crazy. Like that sense of the taste, instead of losing it, you can totally have it transform into anything you eat is just garbage and sewage. So thank goodness I didn't get that. And if you did have it, because you didn't get that either. And so
my fat soul was like, what?
You and me both. With that, after dropping that bomb, we're almost almost done and ready to go back into our workplace. So almost done with our break time. So let's finish out with our final thoughts. So Rissy, go right ahead.
That is so, oh Lord.
I know I dropped the bomb.
Oh gosh, okay. Great topic as always, Kaninja. You know, I landed the fence of allegedly and period flu for myself, but it was definitely a great topic. I feel sad. I you know what? I'm thinking about it and stuff. I'm like, we were both very blessed to, you know, if we did, you know, having it, and that we're still able to just function.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me everything tastes like crap, it's heartbreaking, and that's the final thoughts. Oh Lord.
Yes, exactly. No, awesome. You know, it is an interesting situation that happened to both of us, you know, as far as, you know, me getting it and you allegedly may or may not have gotten it, you know, and it's an interesting situation how we got similar, you know, symptoms, as well as the difference between our vaccination status and kind of all that stuff too, as well as the difference between how the at-home antigen test versus a PCR test kind of differed, you know, and just to keep that in mind, break room buddies, as far as if you are experiencing symptoms, you take the at-home antigen test. If it is negative, please be safe and take the PCR test at the CVS or Walgreens or wherever you need to go. Mm-hmm. That is just to be safe, so you're not spreading it more, because the at-home antigen test is not foolproof, and unfortunately so. Yeah. Exactly. And we are proof that it's not foolproof. So with that, make sure you guys just continue to stay safe. And just if you're experiencing any sort of symptoms whatsoever, just be safe. It takes 2 seconds just to get tested and to make sure everyone else stays safe too. So, but with that, we are going back to work. And make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you share the messages that we have today. Let us know what you guys thought, if you had COVID, or if you know someone who has COVID and what their symptoms were, you know, and kind of share your stories like that we had today, and anything about the antigen tests and so on and so forth. And also make sure to check out our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram. That's usually where we put our updates on what we're going to be talking about next. And of course, if you are interested on joining as a guest, please reach out to either one of us, Rissy or myself, and reaching out to us either on those 3 channels or our email, which is actually on the description below. So with that, bye, break room buddies.
Bye.
See you next time.